Over this series, we've built something real. We picked a wrapper. We chose a fund. We learned to balance shares with steadier holdings. But all of that is just set up for one quiet, powerful act. Staying invested. So here's the question this whole channel has been building towards. You hold the course, for years, for decades, and what does it actually get you? Not in theory. In real life. Let's follow the money. It starts slowly. Almost boringly. You invest a little, and it grows a little. You invest again. For the first few years, it barely looks like anything. But growth feeds on growth. Your returns start earning returns of their own. And given enough time, the line stops creeping and starts to climb. This is compounding, the idea we met right back at the start. The magic isn't in the early years. It's in the later ones, when the pot is large, and a single good year adds more than you could ever save by hand. Historically, a broad spread of shares has rewarded the people who stayed in. Not every year. Never in a straight line. And never guaranteed. But over decades, patience has paid. So why doesn't everyone just do this? Because staying invested is hard. Markets fall. Headlines scream. And every instinct tells you to sell, to get out, and wait for calm. But here's the trap. The market's best days tend to hide right next to its worst ones. Sell in the panic, and you don't just lock in the loss. You're on the sidelines when the rebound comes. Miss only a handful of the strongest days, and your long-run return can shrink dramatically. We saw this earlier in the series. The lesson holds. The people who do best aren't the ones who dodge every dip. They're the ones who simply don't sell. Now fast forward. You've stayed the course. The pot has grown, quietly, stubbornly, for years. And at some point, something shifts. You stop asking how to grow it, and start asking something new. Can this thing actually pay me? Can the pot you built begin to replace the income you work for? That's where staying invested truly pays off. Not as a number on a screen, but as freedom. Here's the part that surprises people. You don't have to sell everything and spend it down. A big enough pot can pay you while it stays invested. The classic starting point goes like this. In your first year, you draw about 4% of the pot. Each year after, you nudge that up with inflation. And you let the rest keep working. Why 4%? Because, historically, a sensible mix has tended to grow at least that much over time. You're living off the harvest, not chopping down the tree. It's a rule of thumb, not a promise. Markets can test it. But flip it around, and it tells you something powerful. If 4% a year covers your spending, then your pot only needs to be about 25 times what you spend in a year. 25 times. That's the number that turns invested into independent. So, what does staying invested actually get you? It turns small, steady effort into a pot that compounds. It rewards the boring discipline of not selling. And in the end, it can hand you a paycheck you never have to work for. Which leads to the biggest question of all. If your pot needs to be around 25 times your spending, how soon could you get there? Could you reach it not at 65, but years, even decades, early? There's a movement with a name for exactly that. It's called FIRE. Next time, we'll work out your number, and what it really takes to reach it. See you there.